most common command that we find in the Bible is to remember.
Yes.
God asks us to remember more times than any other command. So as part of remembering the story, a lot of the story is encapsulated in art or iconography or in chapels that focus our attention on the events. I think this is actually a pretty good image of some of the majesty, beauty, and tragedy.
Yeah, this is striking.
That is inherent in the story.
What do we have here?
We have at the bottom panel. We see King Herod, the king of the Jews at the time, nervous, afraid of another king of the Jews being born.
Paranoid, nasty man.
Sets out to undo his rival. He's going to murder his rival. And he asks his guards to kill all the kids born in Bethlehem below the age of 2. So everyone is being killed.
This was a massacre.
This is a massacre. This is tragic. This is painful. This is suffering as well as a joyful part of the story of the coming Redeemer. There's darkness.
And that's why this is, the Chapel of the Innocents where we're at right now, Aaron. This commemorates this heinous act by Herod. And the Old Testament talks about this, right?
It does. The prophets reflect that Rachel, who's also buried here, she is weeping for her children. Here we have Jesus and his family running into Egypt, fleeing towards Egypt. He's a happy little baby. He's with his parents. He doesn't know what's going on back here. At the time, the Bethlehem would have been full of members of the household of David.
Yeah, Jesus' cousins, relatives.
His cousins, his relatives, they're all being killed.
They all have to come here for the census because this was the place of their family lineage, David.
Indeed. And all we have left is the last of the Davidic line.
Yeah, and this is John the Baptist.
This is John the Baptist, this is his cousin, and he also flees and hides. Juxtapose this, the babies are now taken to be with the Lord, and now they're in heaven, so they're happy. And yet Jesus, being older, his expression is he's sad. He knows where they've come from. They didn't get to enjoy life like they should have. And I think this image really captured the joy and the pain.
I think this is important for everyone to see, Aaron, because the Christmas story came at a price.
The Christmas story, it came at a price. There was a blessing and there was suffering, and the two, as is so often in the Christian life, they go together. So underneath the chapel, the Church of the Nativity, what we find are lots of cave structures. And those caves are important to the story.
Yeah, this is amazing. I mean, this place, like you said, Aaron, 1,500 years old, the church itself.
God blessed Israel with lots of rock.
Yes, he did.
Jesus and his family, they come to Bethlehem as part of the census. And they were going to stay with the family, some sort of cousin or distant relative that was still living here. But there was no room for them. And we read in the Gospels of no room in the inn. And in our way of reading inn, we think of hotel.
Yeah.
What we really should think of is it was the guest room of the family house.
So these were Jesus' kin. That's interesting, Aaron. I always think of some angry innkeeper turning them away and saying, sleep outside with the cows.
No, this was family. And they didn't want to send them away, but too much of the other family had come. And so they didn't want to turn him away. They put the family in the only space available, what we today call a maksan. They put them in the storage room.
Yeah.
It would have been warm, it would have been dry, it might have been a little dirty and with some animals, but it's in something that's very humble, just like this. The Savior enters the world.
Up next, see the very spot in Bethlehem where the Savior came into the world. You won't want to miss this. Stick around.